I mean, I know I'm not the brightest dinosaur guy in the world, but I don't feel like that answered
I
the
answered it at the beginning, and then it turned into a sort of a rant about crests.
Are you a serious dinosaur collector that wants to make better buying decisions? If so, this is the show for you. Welcome to episode 5.1 of the Dinosaur Review Show. Today we are going to do an update on Edmontosaurus. We received a new Edmontosaurus figure from PNSO, and we're going to see if it can unseat the previous champion from CollectA.
I'm super excited to go over this Edmontosaurus. It's the first dinosaur I ever got to find.
So if you remember, the Edmontosaurus from CollectA was determined to be the most scientifically accurate. George, let's take a look at the PNSO one and see if it can unseat it.
All right, so this is already much more anatomically correct than the CollectA Edmontosaurus. You'll notice something a little bit different than the other figures that we have seen so far, and it's this kind of hanging down beak. Now, these dinosaurs were known as duckbills, but thanks to the discovery of a preparator, that's somebody who works on fossils like myself, the preparators noticed that the brim of the duckbill extended below, kind of like a mustache, and it might have been a good chopper for plant material or a filter to kind of strip off leaves from the stems. We also have more detail in the neck, different scales transitioning to smaller scales back to even more variations in textures of the skin. It does have a crest at the top, which is a slightly different shape than the one that we saw in the Safari or the CollectA Edmontosaurus. I like the blue eye. That's something that we haven't really seen with many dinosaur figures. They typically give them green, yellow, or black or brown eyes. So that's a nice, neat little touch. It contrasts very well with the reddish crest. It does have these dorsal sort of neural spines sticking out. They did have tall spinous processes coming up, kind of like a bison's hump. As for them coming out of the skin, I'm going to have to go back and see if, the validity of that. But it does look very cool with that. I'm going to move down to the arms, and you notice that they have the hoof, which is my favorite part in the little pinky. As long as they have that, that is accurate and consistent with the findings of our mummified Edmontosaurs. You have the back feet with 3 toes forward facing and 1 backward facing with foot pads, and even the front have foot pads. That's really cool. And you know we have to check for a cloaca. It's time for a cloaca check, and there it is. Perfect placement for it. The tail does a nice taper from the muscular base off to the tip, and it is a little bit flexible. I gotta say, this figure is beautiful. Just looking at the paint, these striped patterns would have been kind of like zebra stripes to kind of help them camouflage in their herds. So that's a cool speculative coloration of them. Yeah, this is a great one.
Question, George. What is the preservation record on that crest? Because this is different shaped than the previous ones. Do we have a definitive answer as to what that crest was shaped like?
When it comes to the crest, there are actually two major groups of Edmontosauruses. They're different species. There's Edmontosaurus annectens. That one's the most commonly found. And then there's Edmontosaurus regalis. Regalis does have evidence of a slight bony crest right above the top of the head. But there are theories that it would have had a fleshy covering over it. So kind of like the comb on a rooster. Annectens also is sort of represented, but with a smaller crest, as you will see in, I think, Jurassic World. But it is something that we have found traces of, and it's not that prevalent, but it does make them a lot cooler because their ancestors all had these various great crests. Like, think of the other duck-billed dinosaurs or hadrosaurs like Parasaurolophus or um, Hypacrosauruses, or all of those had really large crests. So to see Edmontosaurus, one of the biggest representatives of the duckbill family or the hadrosaur family, they have also a crest, but just not as prominent. Then it turned into sort of a rant about crests, but
Okay.
you know, there is fossil evidence for it. It's just not that common because the crest is so thin. So very few individuals have been found with it, but it is very much a thing that they had.
Okay, George, decision time. Does this figure from PNSO unseat the previous champion in the Edmontosaurus family?
100%.
Not even close?
Not even close. This is, as soon as I saw it out of the box, I knew it was the most accurate.
And do you have this model?
I don't.
What?
I might have to take this one off your hands.
All right. We'll talk after the video, George. Okay, so George has decided that we have a new champion in the Edmontosaurus, and it is the figure from PNSO. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and thumbs up. And as always, please consider happyhentoys.com for all of your dinosaur needs. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.